So I'd like to introduce Belinda Vesey Brown from the Brio group.
Thank you. Thank you. I got into it because I was sick of clients coming in and they sort of would say to me, I need a brochure, or I need this poster. And I started questioning, but why do you need it? What's the purpose of it? And who are you as a brand and what do you stand for? And they're like, oh, well, I don't know what you mean. And then I was thinking, well, how could you not know? And I know a lot of the brands that I know that I love, there's this chemistry that goes on with them. And you'll actually see I have a little bit of a bias between a certain make of car. There's a bit of, in my presentation tonight. But, it's that brand and that I associate with it and I have these beliefs in what that is. And so brands really are, and the brands that do it really well, they really are like a person. They have these personalities that we can really, connect with physically and also emotionally. So I was thinking, what if I could, with the work that I was doing, when I had these clients come in and go, I need this poster, I need this business card, I could offer them this better service. How do I add some neuromarketing into what I do? So I started looking into, how our brains react. What's the subconscious that goes on and around us making decisions around our marketing and our brands? And, there's some brands that we really connect with and there's some brands that we just think stink. And so I started looking into what are all those things? Why is that? And as I said there, it really is a chemistry thing. So the 6 things that I want to cover with you tonight are where buying behaviour begins, techniques for trust and instant responsiveness. That's a pretty good one. Risk-reward dynamics, the illusion of choice, how brands get stuck in your head, but on purpose, and then the secret source of all of that. All right, let's get started. Number 1, where buying behaviour begins. Well, you've got to talk to their caveman brain. So we actually have 3 parts to our brain. You have your caveman brain, which sits down here, and that's basically the part of your brain that's your fight or flight. So, when the saber-toothed tiger comes in the cave, that's the part of your brain that's on all the time and it's telling you need to run out of here. And it's also responsible for your breathing. But you know what? It's not very smart. So I see a lot of people and they're doing presentations and they're talking to your limbic brain or your where it's emotional, or coming up further, your neocortex, where it's your smart brain. But you've got to talk to that caveman brain. You've got to dumb it down. So the goal of talking to someone's caveman brain is, well, we want to trigger an emotional response. How does this brand feel with us? So what are these emotional responses that we're looking to trigger? Well, there's physical safety, there's sex, of course, there's status, there's self-image, and there's resource security. So let me tell you a little bit about these. So physical safety. So the typical one is, you've got your Blundstones there. I know that if I'm going to buy those boots, they're going to protect me when I'm out in the workforce. And better still, this company is going to offer me a 2-year warranty and a 30-day comfort guarantee. So I'm feeling pretty safe about that, because talking to my caveman brain, do I feel safe with this product? So they've started to tell me that it's going to be okay. On the other side of that, when you don't actually have a physical product and you're selling a service, things like insurance, and it's generally after a natural disaster, like flooding of Brisbane, there's all these insurance ads that you need your life insurance. What if you were to die tomorrow? So they're starting to say, I'm going to lose some of my safety, but my product and my service is going to give that back. Sex. Bet you're all waiting for this one. That's where the term sex sells comes from. But it's not all what you guys are thinking, right? It really is. The emotion is about, well, how do I propagate my genes? So how do I look better? So this guy here, and there isn't many male examples, if he puts on this deodorant, he puts on his Lynx, well, the women are going to come running after him. With women, we're forever being, sold to in all the magazines on how to look more beautiful. This bag is good. This is how you can shave, years off your life. Cosmetics, there's like a mass for women. But for men, All they need is links, but I don't know, it didn't really work for this guy. He got all the links, but still no girlfriend. So I want you, so let's talk about some brands. I want you to think of a car manufacturer that sells with sex appeal. I want you to think about that, and we're going to come back to that. Right, the next one, status. So how does your product or service give me money, power, or some kind of social presence? And/or how does it stop me losing that? So I've got here a man, I love this guy. I even watched him when he was on Home and Away. If you buy this watch, you know you're going to feel pretty cool, right? Same as I got one for the women. How good do you feel when you have your Chanel handbag? You just hope that everyone's noticing, right? And then cross-gender, even your iPhone is almost like a status symbol, right? So you pull it out and it's like, well, what do you mean you don't have an iPhone? Oh, I've got the latest one. It's the gold one. So it's all about how that product is making you feel, and all the marketing is starting to tell you that. The next one, self-image. So how does your product or service improve my self-image? Could it improve my health? Could it improve the way I look? Proactive do that really well. In nearly all of their shots, they have this, ugly, and then she uses the product for like a couple of weeks. Amazing. And then, of course, they assign that with the he's been using it, so it must be all right for me. So there's a little bit of sex sells in there, maybe. Not for me. I'm not really into Justin Bieber, but it is about using attractive people, though. And you can probably think of a lot of ads where attractive people have helped sell a product. Because we all want to be like them. All right, resource security. This is a great one. My father he had this saying. He used to say to me, Belinda, if you don't eat, you don't shit. And if you don't shit, you die. And it's the whole thing, right? It comes back to, you've got to eat, right? And so this is this instinctual, thing that we have that, but we need more. Like the shops are going to be closed over, Christmas. Oh my God, I need to get down there now. I need to buy all this stuff. This was a picture, of Woolworths in Ashgrove when we had the floods on. I think they were only closed. It was only, the disruption was 2 days or something. But, everything's sold out because we all had to get down there because we just didn't want to miss out on something. We needed this resource security because we need to be able to eat, right? On the other side of that, there's this whole upgrade syndrome. So I talked about before, it's a bit of a status if you don't have the latest iPhone. But you've got here where they actually make you upgrade because you install the next app or something. It's like, it's not available on your system. You don't have enough space left. And so they actually have designed it in a way that it forces you to upgrade. And all this is on purpose. Pretty cool, eh? Next one, number 2, rapport techniques to build trust and instant responsiveness. So the goal is to create loyal customers, or your raving fans, your brand advocates. So I want you to think of when you spent some money with a business or a person that you didn't really like, and you didn't really trust them. And did you go back and buy from them again? I'm seeing some lemon faces. We'll come back to that. So how do you build rapport? Well, the first one is you need to match your customer. So I've got 2 examples here. I've got the physical, or the interpersonal. So you match, what's their body language? I was out there talking before, and there was 2 people talking, and one was standing here like this, and their foot out, and the other one was standing here like this, and there was like an opening. So I stepped into the opening. Hello. Match their body language. Match their values. If their value is around quality, how are you supplying quality? So it's about really understanding who your customer is. Also, their personality. If they're really outgoing, you can mirror that. If they're a bit more information or technology-driven, mirror that too. From the extra-personal, from a brand perspective, Coke do it really, really well. You think about all of their marketing is all about young, free, living life. It's that young market. And so everything that they show in their branding is about reflecting the personality of the person that they know is going to buy their product. Next one is trust builds rapport. We know this. Do what you say you're going to do, or follow up. Keep your commitments. And consistency. And consistency also works from a brand perspective. If you think about McDonald's, like I know, I was in, the Philippines, and you're like, really need to go to the toilet. Where do you go? Oh, there's a McDonald's. I know the toilet's going to be clean, generally. And so it's about consistency. And so you have this brand, this understanding of what that's going to be. You have this expectation. And so that builds trust around that. I can trust McDonald's, no matter where they are in the world, they'll have a clean toilet. All right, the law of fair exchange. So this is when I do something for you and you do something for me. It's about credit in the bank. It's the little things that make a big difference. And I put this up here because I have a client, and he's a dentist, and he does some early morning appointments. And he knows you're not allowed to eat before you come in. And he's drilling away. And then so he sends you off with, here's your breakfast muffin before you go. So those little things. And then you go, oh, he's done that for me. That's really nice. I'll come back again. From an extra personal perspective, and this is something that came through the other day, I always park my car when I'm travelling at Andrews Airport parking, and then they drive you a little shuttle bus up to the terminal. Anyway, I must have been there enough times because I've got now a little voucher where, and they know I'm a busy person, they're going to wash my car for me. How cool is that? But they understand that, well, I'm loyal to them. I'm going to give you something back. And just be a little simple thing, but they understand that I'm a busy person and I travel a fair bit. I'll wash the car for you. All right, number 3, risk-reward dynamics for effortless engagement. I love this stuff. All right, the goal here is that you want to intrinsically motivate your audience. How do you do that? Through games. We talked about a bit of gamification before. You got leaderboards. You got, here's this little guy here. He's the best seller of the week. You've got Netflix does it really well. You've got, these are all the TV shows that your friends are watching. You're like, oh, John's watching that. Oh, that could be all right. I'll watch that too. So we're making it a lot more fun. LinkedIn, they did it really well. How many people saw this when it first came out and went, I'm only rating 50% on this. I'm going to answer those few extra questions and I'm going to become an all-star. And they send you things on your email like, do you know you've had 9 views this week? Or, hey, Mike, congratulations, you're in the top 1%. And so if you're not that, you want to, keep going to, keep improving. Another example is Woolworths. All right, he's got kids who collected all those animal cards. Yep, and you kept you going back into Woolworths, right? And you're like, what cards do you get? And they conveniently wrap them all individually. So you're like, oh, I'm looking for number 52. Is number 52 in here? And my son's only 2, but I was like unwrapping them. And I did this capture here from Facebook. One of my friends, she's got here, apart from number 46, we now have 2 full sets. But if anyone else has got number 46, can you please send it through? And so this is all the conversation that's going on, this unsolicited type of conversation. Donut King. Free coffee if you eat donuts. How good is that? So I want you to think of your 2 most used reward cards. Let's just shout out some.
Oh, coffee, definitely.
Coffee, Glory Jeans or something. Merlot. What else? What else do you have in your... Velocity? Yeah. What else? Guzman's. Nice. All right, 4, the illusion of choice to increase conversion. You've got to give just the right amount of choice. So this was a really great case study. So this is this famous jam. It was out of Columbia University in the States. So they had 24 jars on this table, and they had 6 jars the next day of jam. They actually had 60% of the people stop by on the table that had all of the jams, and they, tasting and all that. But you know what? They only had 3% of people actually purchased. The next day when they turned up, they only had 6. They would have had less people come and try the jam, but 30% purchased. I know what I'd rather have. So it's about how much choice are you actually giving. So I've got this little sweet spot. So here you're feeling sold to because you only got like, well, lady, I've got 1. You can have it in blue or blue. I'm feeling sold to you. I don't even like blue. That's bad. But here, if I get to number 8, too many choices that haven't been narrowed down for me. Sure, it's fine to have lots of products, But you've got to have it some way to narrow it down. But if I've got even up to 8, even that's getting confusing. Again, my caveman brain, not very smart, can't really decipher. That's bad too. So my rule of thumb is you really want to get 3 or 4. Or help people narrow down to 3 or 4 as quickly as possible. So how does this translate into sales? So I call it the double bind or the triple bind. So what's a double bind? Well, that's that assumed close. So this is my Fiat obsession coming in. So this is where I'm assuming that you're going to buy a Fiat. So I'm saying, so do you want this Fiat 500 in red or do you want it in blue? The only thing is, we've started to wise up to that a little bit, so we need to make it harder for our caveman brain. It's getting a little bit smarter. So we do a triple bind. It's like, do you want to buy the red Fiat, the blue Fiat, or the yellow Fiat? And then that's just enough confusion that our caveman brain has forgotten that I even had an option of not buying. So think of a time when you're in an ice cream shop, or even a fudge shop, and there were dozens of choices and the feelings it provoked. You're like, what am I going to pick? Versus when you're at a restaurant, there was a set menu and you could choose this one or this one. What was better? Think about the emotion around that. All right, how brands get stuck in your head on purpose. Right, these are some shows. I did a bit of a survey around my office. These are some shows that people watch regularly. I don't know how many of them you might watch regularly. Yes, Bold and the Beautiful is in there. They're not always the best productions, but geez, people are turning up all the time to watch it that same time every night. Then there's what about these books? Again, I haven't read all these books. I know a lot of people in my office have read these books. Again, not even the best literature, right? But yet people are reading them. So I just want to say, congratulations. You have all experienced the power of open loops. Open loops prey on our brain's need to complete something. So the goal is to create the cliffhanger. Man, Home and Away do that well all the time, don't they? Find out who she marries in the next episode. MKR, see Zana's breakdown. Oh no, I've revealed which one I watch regularly. So how do we open loops for our audience? First of all, we need to get attention, interest, desire, and action. So this graph says it really well. So first of all, you've got to get their attention. And if you can keep their interest, we're starting to connect that emotional response, right? So then the desire and the behaviour then takes over. So we've got to keep them coming in for long enough that then that the behaviour then becomes something. It becomes a ritual that you sit down and watch that show every night. So how do we open loops for our audience? Well, we first of all get their attention through a good headline. We raise customer interest by demonstrating features and advantages. So here, the little features for the car. Then we have a desire. So we start to use some language about, everything goes screamingly well with her head-turning Fiat 500 Lounge in funk white. So we're using something that's emotive. And then we have the call to action at the end. So think of a TV infomercial where you genuinely thought that I could buy that. Or even if you did buy that. So who's actually bought something from a TV infomercial? Yeah, brave enough to say. I know I have nearly many times. So I've actually been opening loops with you all night, keeping you engaged. You know how I said, think of a car manufacturer that has a bit of sex appeal? What do you think one is? Who said Nissan? Lexus. What else? No. Alfa Romeo. So it's all about, young girls. It's about, even that. You remember that ad with the guy's like, oh, don't leave me. And she's throwing his stuff out the window. And he's driving off, and it's like the smell of the leather in it. It's all this emotive language. And this one, think of a time that you spent money with a business or person that you didn't like or trust. I opened a loop with you there. When you're in the ice cream shop, you didn't know what flavour to pick. I opened another loop. So the success to opening loops is to get people to ask themselves the question, how does that relate to you? And then the secret sauce of the chemistry is know your brand personality. Brand archetyping is the process of clarifying building or transforming a brand personality so that it attracts the right people, because that's what you want, to work with the right people, right? And then they follow you. And it's the chemistry that it takes it from that, oh, I think you're all right, to I'm going to commit to you. So let me introduce you to some of these personalities. There's 12 of them. And I might actually just do 2, just so you get the idea. So the first one, the ruler. So I can tell you, Mercedes-Benz is a ruler brand. They are all about control. So if you think about the king or the queen, they own the space. It's the best. They look after you, well. And they have this drive to innovation is always around that. Another one is the innocent. Actually, Coca-Cola is an innocent brand. Disney is an innocent brand. It's all about, I have this view that the world is to be great and, to be lived. Dove soap, and it's all clean and lovely. The Wizard. The Wizard's about transformation. We did this with the Lung Foundation, and it was about taking them from this perception that just because you're a smoker, oh, you dirty smoker, you deserve to get lung cancer. No, not necessarily. So it's a transformation. It's taking a perception and through research and through science saying, well, this is what it could be. Actually, the Lynx guy, that's the Wizard. Puts it on, transforms into a love machine, and so on. And I can tell you a lot more about these characters, because there's one that could be associated to your brand. And if you're interested, I've got an online test and you can jot your name down and I can give you what that answer is at the end. But I have been talking for quite a while, so I'll leave it there. But please, if you want to find out what your brand personality is, just get in touch.